Over this last year, the world has changed like never before as we pivot more into remote learning and remote working and an increase in e-commerce. There has never been a better opportunity for you to go full-time on YouTube. My name is Heather Torres and you're listening to the Think Marketing Podcast. And if you're new here, we release an episode every single Tuesday, and I would encourage you to subscribe wherever you're consuming this content. And I'm excited because we're going to be getting into a 3-part series over the next few weeks here on the podcast. Sean's going to be breaking down the 7 lessons that he learned from going from flipping burgers, well, actually serving burgers, to becoming a full-timer on YouTube. This is possible. This is possible for you right now. And I'm excited because over these next 3 episodes, we're going to be breaking down each one of those steps. And throughout that time, you're going to be learning everything from how do you actually go full-time? Like, it sounds great, but what are the practical steps to doing that? Things like the proximity principle, and what does that mean for you to growing faster into going full-time? And how do you financially do it? You know, what does it actually mean to go full-time, and how do you get there faster? We're gonna be breaking down the 7 steps over the next few weeks. And today we're jumping into step number 1, which is getting started, and step number 2, which is skilling up. Now, Sean's gonna share with you those first 2, and then I'm gonna come back on. We're gonna recap, and I've got some extra tips for you at the end.
Step 1 is start, right? And there's actually another part to it, but ultimately you got to just start. Now, maybe that seems basic, but I know a lot of us, even some in the Think media community, that maybe we're still hesitating because of fear. Maybe we think we don't have the right gear yet or any of those things. Look, you got to punch fear in the face, punch perfectionism in the face, and press record. But a better way to start is not just start, but start with the end in mind. And so if you want to go full time, it's good to have a vision for where you want to go. And look, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So when it comes to Think Media, I think it's important to mention that I started video in 2002 or 3. I started volunteering at my local church and using video cameras to make these video announcements Wednesday night at youth group. And guess what? They were terrible. Like, your first videos are going to be your worst videos. But when you look at my ultimate journey, that was a massive advantage, right? Because I was learning cameras, I was learning editing, I was terrible at it. And I had time years before YouTube even started to really skill up and level up. But ultimately, you got to just start. You got to learn this stuff. You got to lean in. You got to push past perfectionism and just start. But I also think that starting with the end in mind is important. And the first Think Media video that was ever posted was in 2010. Now, I didn't have a ton of clarity, but I did have a little bit of a direction. And you can see that here, that even 8-9 years ago, I posted on how to get started in video production and video editing, or video editing PC tips, how to build an HD video editing machine. What was I doing on YouTube? I was teaching out of my experience that I had up until that point. So by 2010, I now had been volunteering and doing video production. I'd been on camera. I'd been learning about cameras. And I started a business called Clear Vision Media, where I was doing wedding videos and I was doing video production for other people. So my YouTube channel was like an overflow of what I was doing in my life. It's kind of meta, you know, if you ever, some people are like, Sean, you have a channel about video. It's like, well, no, video was what I started with way before even YouTube started, right? And so I realized that I had some skill in that. I had experience, I had time doing that. And so that's what I started my channel around. And in 2010, I was working at Red Robin, waiting tables. That was my main way to pay the bills. I bootstrapped my business, Clear Vision Media, took out a loan to get some video gear. I had a side project with my friend Jeff Moores called Think International, which was actually a major piece of me learning a lot of YouTube skills. And then I started Think Media. And if you've ever wondered, like, why Think Media? Well, I don't know where we came up with the name Think International. Think Media was at first just the media side over on that channel with Jeff. It was just kind of like a passion. It was actually a nonprofit that we started, and it never really made money. Now, it was a nonprofit, but it didn't even make money for a nonprofit to run the bills. But we learned so much. And what it actually was an interview show with authors, faith-based leaders, and church leaders. So it really, you know, you see video influencers today. I was cutting my teeth in 2010, really learning about interviews and video production and dynamic content and whatever. And so Think Media started as like an overflow of that. And it was like Think International, Think Media. I'll talk about the cameras and the tech and all my experience on that side of things. So I was doing a lot, and maybe you can relate. In fact, tell me in the comments, like maybe you can relate to being doing a side hustle. In fact, what season are you in? Imagine if you're watching this, YouTube is a side hustle, but tell me you're in the side hustle season. Maybe you're in the solopreneur season where you're actually kind of making some money off YouTube. Or maybe you're in the scale season where things are just growing and things are going further for you. But definitely let me know in the chat or in the comments below, because I get the fact of juggling things, right? I get the fact of trying to do multiple things, and you got to just be disciplined, right? And at that time, I knew I wanted to do this. You know, we don't really have time to go into my story, but I was coming right out of the hardest season of my life. In 2009, my wife almost died, and I found myself in the hospital, and we went through the financial crisis, and we were losing our home. So all of this hustle was out of a lot of desperation to provide for my family, to provide for, our future, and to really just figure out how to make this YouTube thing work. And so I see that Youth Man's in the solopreneur season. That's awesome. I see Kelvin's starting. I see Happy Ever Nancy's in the solo hustle. Johnson's in the side hustle season. I love it. So we're all kind of in different seasons, but I can totally relate to you feeling kind of like that struggle of juggling, things. And so what ended up happening, and here's a tip for this season, is success on YouTube is found when you use your experience, passion, and skill to add real value to the lives of others. And that's what I was doing. So think about that for you. Write that down and even think about that for you. What is your life experience? What are you passionate about? And what have you developed some skill at or some proficiency at that you can add real value to the lives of others? And maybe type that in the chat. But see, what I had done was, again, my experience was in video. I was also passionate about video. I was geeking out about cameras and lenses, and I developed some skill in video. So that was the natural overflow on to YouTube. I'll be honest though, I actually didn't have as much clarity. Like, hindsight's 2020. I was confused at the time. So if you feel kind of confused, you're in good company, because we probably are all pretty confused, a little bit confused about, what's even happening, where we're going. And so ultimately though, that's where the magic is, I believe, if you want to go full time. And a couple other things to ask if you're starting with the end in mind is there a market for my topic? And are there practical ways to monetize it? So like, I was like, is there a market for people who are going to want to learn about video, find cameras, all those kinds of things? And the answer, of course, is yes. And then is there ways to monetize it? And I had been learning about like affiliate marketing. So the answer was yes. But then another question to ask is, can I add real value in this space? And the answer was yes. I had a ton of self-doubt. I was scared to put myself out there, but I thought, man, I just started this business. I took out a loan for like 10 G's to buy all this gear. I didn't need $4,000 worth of it. So YouTube, or rather Think Media, was kind of like it was being the guide I wish I had. Like, I was a little bit further in video, so I was just turning backwards to help people a few steps back from me figure out what camera to get or whatever. That's where your magic is on YouTube. You probably discount your own expertise, but all you need to do is think, what do I have experience in? What am I passionate about? What if I develop some skill at? And how can I help people a few steps behind just come with me and save time, save money, go further faster? And so that was really the sweet spot. And I think that will help you find your sweet spot. And some advice is, look, focus on making money elsewhere when you're starting. Dig your well, but don't drink from it too soon. Now, I'm not saying that you can't start YouTube and make money even in a few months or even in the first month. It happens. And especially when you go through training or you connect with Think Media or video influencers, will help you go faster. But I think it's an important mindset to focus on making money elsewhere. So even though I wanted to monetize on YouTube, I kind of just punted it out of my mind. And that was actually deeply influenced by Gary Vaynerchuk. I read his book, Crush It, in 2009. And it was like, look, just don't worry about cashing in too soon. So here's what I'm saying. Dig your well, but don't drink from it too soon. See, really, it's much more important to figure out your voice build an audience, build trust, kind of get a rhythm down. And how do you do that? By making money somewhere else. So I was like, look, I make money waiting tables. And here's the thing, you can make so much more money somewhere else than you can off YouTube ads when you're just starting, for example. Like I was like, dude, I'm going to make like if I even turn on monetization on Think Media, this is back in the day too, things are a little bit different now. And eventually once I got to a certain size, if I even turn this on, I'm going to make like $5. If I just treat a table a little nicer, I could make $5 in one night on tips because I was waiting tables. And actually at the time I was a busser, even as a busboy. If I'm nicer to the servers, you know what I'm saying? Like get money somewhere else, like go get a job, like go hustle and then fund like your YouTube ambitions. Just some advice, like focus on making money somewhere else when you're starting. Dig your well, focus more on audience value. And I'm not saying don't turn on monetization necessarily or do affiliate marketing. Just don't focus on it when you're first starting, which brings us to step 2, which is skill up. Skill up. Mastery is the target. We're talking about going full time, and I'm serious about this. Look, this video is not about a get rich quick overnight magic pill. Those don't exist. This stuff does take work, and I really believe that you can make a living around your knowledge, your passion, your expertise, that you can share your message with the world, that this can happen, but it's not going to happen if you don't pursue mastery of your subject. I really believe the reason I'm here today is because I've been obsessed with not just being average at my subject, but pursuing mastery, being the best. I'm not saying I am the best. I'm saying I'm striving to be the best. I'm in a competition with myself. I want to get better than I was yesterday. I want to always be improving. I want to have the most knowledge possible about YouTube. That's why we've interviewed hundreds of people about it. That's why I read about it and go, you know what I'm saying? Mastery of your subject. And of course, mastery of the best practices. So I realized, man, there's a lot to learn in this YouTube thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, man, thumbnails and titles and shooting videos and like plugging, where's the mic go? And is the mic on? And how do you actually be in focus and shoot? How do you get the blurry background? And actually it's bad because I was actually blurry, but the background was in focus the whole time because of how shallow that depth of field was, all this different stuff. There's a lot to learn, but just make a commitment when you're starting to mastery. And here's how you could skill up quickly. Number 1, be obsessed. Number 2, practice and increase outputs, and then also invest in yourself. This is how I focused on skilling up. I was obsessed. This is why you really want to be in a place you're passionate about. Like, I work really hard, and that's been imparted to me from my parents. Like, they taught me a good work ethic, and I think just general in life, I just believe we're on earth for a mission, not just to chill, but to actually make a difference and add value to the world and contribute to others. So I do work hard, but here's why it's easier for me to work hard is because I'm in my zone. I'm in my grace. It'd be hard for me to work as hard. But I worked hard waiting tables. Like, you need to be able to muster up work ethic, because how you do anything is how you do everything. And if you're mediocre and average at your job, hoping that someday you're going to make it on YouTube, I think that transfers over. I think your spirit anywhere transfers to everywhere. So put out excellence, but I'm saying I was obsessed with my topic. I I would be up late nights reading camera blogs and trying to figure out codecs and trying to figure out why stuff wasn't exporting. Like, it was an obsession. So I found my zone. If you haven't found your zone yet, that's okay. Keep experimenting, but you want to get in a place where you can actually sustain the hustle because you love what you're doing and you want to get obsessed. And then practice and increase outputs. You know, if you want to develop mastery in something, but you only work on it 1 hour a month, it's going to take you a freaking long time to develop mastery in it. But if you could work on it 1 hour a week, it's going to be faster. If you could work on it 5 hours a week, it's going to be faster. What if you could work on it 20 hours a week? But Sean, I've got, kids and I've got a family and I've got stuff. You may have 20 hours a week that you could still recover. I mean, if you let go of some Netflix, if you let go of some leisure, if you got a little bit more disciplined and didn't call working just scrolling through YouTube and researching other people's content, if you got real focused. And so if you can increase the amount of practice you're putting in, look, if you take more shots, then you get better form over time with coaching, and you eventually make more baskets if you're in your grace zone. And so increase the outputs. I was in this season just trying to do as much stuff as I could in my zone. So I was freelancing, I was editing videos, shooting videos, because I knew that I was like, ooh, I like this space and I want to be in this space. So I want to just immerse myself and put out as much content, being as prolific as possible. Today, I've uploaded over 2,000 videos, either for myself or for clients or for churches I've worked for. I've put out a lot of content. When you put out that much volume, you get to mastery quicker. And then invest in yourself. The how to skill up quickly is also invest in yourself. So whether that's courses, books, reading, all those types of things. During all of these seasons, that's what I was doing because I wanted to get the skills necessary to succeed and thrive in this industry. Jim Rohn says, formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. And so invest in yourself. Education doesn't stop. And by the way, I know I'm preaching to the choir. If you're here on the replay or you're here live on Think Media, clearly you believe in investing in yourself because you could be watching Netflix, but you're here studying to level up your future and your career. So I really applaud that. And I want to encourage you and thank you for being here. But I believe this so wholeheartedly. The average person stops learning when they end high school or college, but you got to keep learning, continuous learning. Lifelong leaders are lifelong learners. So I've never hesitated to invest in books and courses and events because it's what has helped me skill up faster. And so some advice is also volunteer in an organization where you will learn critical, hard and soft skills. Volunteer at an organization where you will learn critical, hard and soft skills. What do I mean? I think that as I look back, one of the critical components to going full-time on YouTube and the skills I developed to do it was because I started volunteering at a church in 2003. And whether you volunteer at your church, a local nonprofit, some kind of an organization, or you volunteer at a business, I mean work for free, volunteer at a business or for a YouTuber or for a production house or for a media company, you want to volunteer in an organization where you will learn critical hard and soft skills. What are hard and soft skills? Hard skills are where you will learn YouTube. So the first YouTube channel I managed was 2007 for my church. Little did I know that even though I had no clue what I was doing in titles, I was clocking time. I was developing mastery by uploading videos. And back then there was a 15-minute time limit. So anything longer than 15 minutes, we'd cut into multiple parts. We'd upload those, tagging them, trying to figure out stuff, making a ton of mistakes. But I was learning hard skills like lighting and cameras immersed in this church, but then also soft skills like relationships, leadership, teamwork, how to win friends and influence people, which is a great book, but like people skills, communication skills, soft skills, emotional intelligence. I think you need that for YouTube. I think you need that to succeed. You need to have a vibe where you can kind of sense where people really are, where your audience is going. So I was learning both sides. I want to encourage you. Have you ever considered volunteering? You're sitting around wanting to grow and you may have time. This isn't for everybody, but you got some time. This could be the fastest way that you could level up. I read this in a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, another classic, where he said, look, the fastest way to level up is go volunteer. Plus, you'll get around other leaders, other people. By the way, the best possible people in the world are volunteering, aren't they? I mean, they are, because they have servants' hearts, they're leaders, they believe in something different, they're bigger, they believe in something bigger, they're mission driven. So that one thing snowballed my life to just level me up, plus the education I was getting there from a spiritual leadership, all of the different aspects. And so consider, this is some advice, volunteer in an organization where you will learn critical hard and soft skills.
Well, that was step number 1 and step number 2. Let's recap. Step number 1 was start before you're ready. And step number 2 was skill up. And, when I think about my journey, even getting here to being able to do this podcast for you, bringing you as much value as I can about getting started on YouTube, growing on YouTube, YouTube, and ultimately creating a life that you love with the power of video. I think about when I started, I was so scared. I mean, let's be honest, it is not easy to step outside the norm, quit your job, and decide to go full-time on YouTube. And I remember that I just knew I needed to step outside of my comfort zone. I knew that I needed to get around the people that were gonna level me up. And I knew I needed to learn those skills, like Sean said, those hard skills and soft skills. And I spent years volunteering. I spent years being in the spaces that I knew were gonna help me grow. Some things worked and some things didn't, but I just knew that if I mastered 1 and 2, if I just started, if I picked up the camera, if I started making little Snapchats, if I just got myself into an uncomfortable position, that it was gonna help me grow. And that's what I want for you. You know, right now we are seeing some unprecedented times. It is unimaginable what's even happened, but the opportunity is there for those who see it. And I want to encourage you to go all in, to not hold back when it comes to chasing your dreams. It's so important to remember that you are the one that can create the life that you want, but you have to step outside the comfort zone and start messy and know that there's probably going to be people that are judging you on the outside, but that you can stay focused on what matters most. And that is going full-time on YouTube if that's the plan. So I just want to encourage you that as you walk through these different steps that we're going through, that you take time to write down things like, am I challenging myself? Am I doing things that are going to help me skill up? Am I in the position that I want to be in to be able to go full-time? And we have more steps to come, so don't worry. We're going to be covering the rest of the steps in the next 2 episodes, and I'm excited about that. But I want to let you know that as we walk through these 7 steps, that this is your challenge to take action. If you've not started your YouTube channel and you're listening to this right now, then your next step actually is probably to go and start your channel. And if you need help on what that looks like or how to do it, you can always check out our Think Masterclass. It is our free YouTube class where Sean breaks down the 3 secrets to success on YouTube. Now, if you're going to start on YouTube, I want you to start the right way. I don't want you to feel lost and unsure about what to do. And so you can register for that free class at thinkmasterclass.com. And Sean's really put so much time and effort into making sure that he's bringing you value in this class that's going to move you forward, that's going to help you dominate on YouTube, that's going to help you move from dabbling to actually dominating and help put the pieces together to what YouTube can be like for you. So you can go to thinkmasterclass.com if that is your next step to take here on the podcast. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet to the podcast, I'm going to encourage you to click subscribe wherever you're watching. And if you're on iTunes, you can rate and review this podcast. I love being able to go over and read the ratings and reviews that are posted over there. And today we have one from Seeker Bear. Seeker Bear says, knowledge overload, valuable information, great guests, and entertainment all in one. Thank you for all your content on all platforms. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the community. You know, it's our heart here at Think to help 10,000 people create a full-time income, doing what they love and making an impact in the world with the power of video. And that can be you. You can be one of our 10,000. So thank you for being a part of our community here at Think. It means so much to us to get to hear your stories all over social, on YouTube and on Instagram and here on the podcast. And we just want to say thank you for being a part of the community. Next week's episode, we're going to be diving into step 3 and step 4, and you're going to learn all about the proximity principle and how that can help you get to your goal faster. And if you're in a season where you're trying to figure out, how do I get this side hustle done? We're going to be breaking down how you can do more in less time and get to your goals faster. Yeah, both of these new steps are going to help you get to your goal faster. And that's important, to brush off years from what it will take for you to get there. So I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that this one was helpful to you. And now it's time for you to take action. Take the action, either go watch the masterclass or get started on your YouTube channel. And I'll see you in the next episode.